I can't hear you again. Come on. Is it connected? There
I
we go.
think I think that was me. Yeah, I didn't have my mic turned on. I'm sorry about that. I went through a
It's
whole
all
little
good.
spiel. Yeah, I through a whole little spiel there on mute. No, I bought a new mic about 2 weeks ago, and this is the first time I've used it, and I forgot to unpause it. So yeah,
That's understandable.
yeah.
So what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I just got up not too long ago. I'm gonna head into work after this.
Gotcha, gotcha. What have you had going on lately?
Right now I've just been working. Money has been a little tight, so I haven't been able to get to some locations that I wanted to, and being here in Philly, because I used to live in Gettysburg.
Oh
So
wow.
anytime you could go out and poke around, but here in Philly, you got to really search for some spots that you could kind of get into and poke around. And in the next couple weeks, we're going up to Northeast Philly to poke around the grounds of where the old Byberry Hospital used to be. So kind of interested to see put that old theory to the test. Is it actually the building that's haunted, or is it the grounds?
Yeah, yeah. That's they just tore here in Kentucky. We had Bobby Mackey's here,
Oh
and
yeah.
they just tore it down a few months ago. But they're going to rebuild on the same site as what I've been hearing. So it's going to be kind of interesting there too to see if maybe whatever was there kind of stuck around, or
Hmm.
if it went down with the building or what. So kind of curious as to how that goes.
Has anyone been out there to try to like see if there's any EVP work to be done on the grounds, or?
I've had a couple of friends go out there, and one of them actually got me some dirt and a few bricks that were left over from the property. And they did some EVP work, and I'm not sure exactly what they've got, but I'm going to try to have them on one day next week. So we'll find out what they've got and if they picked up anything at all, because I'm not really sure. I haven't talked to them in depth about it yet.
Oh, okay.
So tell me a little bit about you, man. You say you're based out of Philly.
Yeah, I'm based out of Philly now. This group actually started with my ex-wife when we lived out in Gettysburg, and obviously that didn't work out, so I had to move back to Philly. Now it's me, my sister, and our friend Jen. That kind of just little ragtag group trying to build up on everything, and that's pretty much it. Like, if I'm not ghost hunting, I'm driving a truck. So,
Gotcha, gotcha. Man, I haven't been out since last October. We at work we plow snow, so it's really hard for me to plan anything.
yeah.
And I haven't had time to do anything so far this year. But I've got a lot of stuff planned to do here in Kentucky. I'm gonna try to hit most of the local haunts and maybe some stuff in Tennessee and West Virginia. I'm kind of wanting to do some places in West Virginia too.
Yeah, the only spot I've ever did in Kentucky is Waverly.
Waverly, yeah.
That was actually the first big location that I did.
That's the big one here in Kentucky. I mean, it's massive, and you usually always catch something there.
And for the people that have never been there, TV does not do that body shoot justice. That
Mm-mm.
thing is steep.
What's that thing? I think it's like 500 feet long.
Yeah, I believe so. And my stupid butt went down to the very bottom. And I'm a big guy, so it's like trying. I was like climbing Mount Everest to come back up. I was
Oh
just
yeah,
a little.
yeah. There's a big incline in that thing. It's not flat at all by any means.
No.
It's downhill. What kind of evidence did you guys catch there?
We didn't really catch a whole lot because right now, since the group has started, we've been doing just like public ghost hunts. We
Gotcha.
haven't been able to rent out anything of our own yet. When we sell our house here in Philly and move out to the suburbs, that's when we're looking to rent out a few locations in the area.
Gotcha. So, what got you into the paranormal?
Oh, that picture I sent to you. So
Those rings.
I'll tell the story of this. So the house that I'm in here, it's my parents' old house in South Philly. It's your typical South Philly row home. It's long and has 3 floors. So this is Christmas of 2011.
Hmm.
The night before, me, my daughter's mom, and my daughter, we came down to stay. Now we're all headed to bed. My daughter's mom goes into the bathroom. Now the bathroom and the spare room are kind of like this being the bathroom, the
Hmm.
spare room here. So she goes in, shuts the door. I go about 5 feet down the hallway and start to turn to head up the stairs. And next thing I know, I just see out of the corner of my eye a little shadow just come in and out. So I just like I pause, and then I go down. I look in the room like, okay, maybe I'm just tired. I don't know. So the next night, my sister and my niece there come down. We're doing the whole Christmas thing. I just have a little, I think I got it from Walmart maybe or Best Buy. Little standard digital camera, nothing fancy. Taking pictures. I saw that picture on the little screen. I'm like, oh, my finger just got in the way. Okay, whatever. Until I put it up on the laptop and saw the part of her shoulder and her arm aren't in the shadow. Like the whole side of the picture is not
Hmm.
completely immersed. So I start showing my mom because she was a big fan of ghost hunters. So we were just floored by it. So that's really what got it started. I didn't actually start investigating until maybe 4 years ago, 3 years
Hmm.
ago. And living out in Gettysburg, that I got stories for days from different experiences. From hearing the muskets and the cannons going to seeing someone look back at me in a rearview mirror of my car as I'm driving through the fields.
Yeah. Man, those haunted battlefields, they're something else anyhow. Just when it starts to get dark and you're there kind of by yourself and alone, it's eerie. We
Oh yeah.
There's a haunted battlefield here in Kentucky that's oh, what's the name of it? Oh crap. I know the name of it, but it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. But anyhow, I've done it before. And when we were there, we were the only people there. There was a team of us, but we were probably half to 3/4 mile apart doing different parts of the battlefield.
Hmm.
So there weren't any of us close that we could actually hear each other talk. But just over the hill from where we were at a mass graveyard that's there on the battlefield. And just over the hill, we could hear someone talking in the woods. And then while we were there, we started hearing whistling. And then one of the other teams actually heard what they thought was a cannon go off. And they snapped a picture of one of the cannons because there's still some cannons there. And they had the tripwire set up, and at the end of the tripwire, you can almost make out what looks like a Civil War soldier in their picture. I wish I had that saved in here, or and I would show it to you. But it's a really good catch, and gosh, I can't think of the name of it to save my life. It's yeah, I'll have to email it to you because I know it's going to come to me. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, the wildest story that I have from Gettysburg
It's
is
Perryville. I'm sorry. Thank you, Kate. It's
oh yeah,
Perryville.
that's right.
Perryville Battlefield.
Um, it was the before we had. This was like maybe 3 months before we moved out there. It's the second day of the anniversary, so we go out to make a day trip of it. We're gonna do the orphanage tour. So we get there. This is like maybe right around right before dusk really starts to hit,
Hmm.
and we're standing on top of Seminary Ridge, and we're just looking down. Now, if you look at an aerial view of that area, the battlefield, there's a little patch of woods that's in between the battlefield and I believe it's the middle school.
Hmm.
It's called the Grove. And we've heard stories about it, so we decide, okay, let's go down this hill and go check out the woods. So we go down the hill, we get onto the little road, and I remember I could smell a horse,
Mhm.
like that weird distinct smell that they have. So I'm looking around for any kind of signs of droppings or urine or whatever on the roadway. There's absolutely nothing. So I was like, okay. We go in there, we poke around for about 10 minutes. We come out, and it's getting close to time when the Rangers start kicking everyone off the fields. So I tell her, okay, I'm gonna head back up this hill because it's gonna take me a minute to get up there because that hill was worse than the body shoot at Waverly.
Mhm.
So she's like, okay, I'm gonna walk down a little bit. I was like, all right. So I get back up to the top and I sit down on a little wall and I look back down towards the grove. And from the entrance to the grove to this one monument, it was like a white haze, like a mist. And I could make out the torso section of a general, and the way it was moving was it was like it was on a horse.
Mhm.
But as soon as it hit that monument, it was like everything disappeared.
Might have been some kind of residual energy kind of stuck there.
Oh yeah, Gettysburg's full of that.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what it is out there.
I know I've seen some videos from there, and I guess everyone's probably seen them. But there were three soldiers kind of walking on the edge of the woods, and the spot they actually caught those in, they said that just on the other side of that there was a sheer cliff, and they caught it on VHS. Is what really made it compelling.
Oh
And
yeah.
and when they walked over there, that woods line, there was a cliff on the backside. So they said there's no way possible that anyone could have gotten away or ran off anywhere because they would have went over a cliff.
Yeah, that's the Phantom Brigade that's been seen. That's actually been reported way back into the 50s,
Hmm.
long before any reenactments or any. I think the reenactments out there only started, I want to say, the 90s.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on that. I think it was the early to mid '90s that they actually started doing anything there.
Yeah, because I used to do the paranormal night tours at the Farnsworth House out there, and that had some interesting nights in there.
Yeah, and I've been on the show here. I've kind of been doing some little videos on different places in Kentucky, trying to put the history out there because a lot of people have heard the haunted stories, but I've
Mm.
been trying to get a little bit of the history to go along and just kind of, I guess, push off a little information onto people because a lot of these places you don't know about them. There's places here in Kentucky that are really haunted, but no one knows about them. So I've been trying to help out and get some names out there a little bit.
There's actually a park here in the city that me and my sister did, and we got some pretty like. We literally had a spirit warn us that the cops were lurking,
Hmm.
and it's called Washington Square Park, and I would say about 98% of this city doesn't know that that is a mass grave right in the middle of Philly.
Now, you being based in Philadelphia, here where I'm at in Kentucky, I'm right in the middle of the Bible Belt. So there's not a lot of people that talk about the paranormal here, and it's still kind of a taboo subject. Do you
Oh
run into
yeah.
that? Do you run into that much up there in Philly, or is everyone kind of open about it?
Um, they're they're open about it, but like they're not used to anybody wanting to talk about it. Like the night we did Washington Square Park, the Rangers and the cops were like circling us and like, what are they doing over there? Where it's like, out in Gettysburg, it's an everyday thing. The cops don't pay you any mind. So it's like you gotta kind of be careful where you tread here because they're just not used to any of this.
Yeah. Now, the house where you sent me the picture, did you guys experience any kind of paranormal activity there at all after you caught that picture and kind of realized, hey, there's something here?
Oh yeah, the before I moved back, my sister and niece kept seeing a dark shadow all over the
Mhm.
house. But this whatever this was scaring them. But ever since I came home, he hasn't whatever that was hasn't shown itself back up, and I've been trying to get this thing to come out and play. I've
Oh,
been trying.
so you're still in the house.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know if you guys were still there, if you'd moved or what.
Nah, my sister has been here. Shoot, I think like she moved in not long after that picture was taken, and I just moved back. You know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Now, do you think it was just something residual or something passing through?
That's what we're still trying to figure out because we know the land and down here is kind of I don't want to say like I don't want to say haunted, but like there's a lot of history with the land down here.
Yeah.
You know, this was one of the original spots of the country. So we don't know if it's something for us or if it's something passing through or
And that's one of the things about up north. There's so much more history there because it was settled before any of these areas. Like Kentucky was settled kind of early on. But the further you go west, the less there was a population there hundreds of
yeah.
years ago. So I kind of think that's one of the reasons that the northern United States is kind of a hot spot because I mean people were coming in there since what the early 1500s.
Yeah.
That when the Mayflower came over, I guess that would be the first bunch that came in, other than the natives.
Yeah, the Native American stuff, I don't try to net. I stay away from that zone. they got a whole lot of a whole lot. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna stay in my lane.
Yeah, yeah. There's little monsters and little devils and stuff in
Uh huh.
there that you don't even think about. I'd actually talked to a guy one time, and he was talking about when people are doing their ghost hunts. That in the Native American religion, they believe that there's this big. I'm not going to say it's a demon, but it's kind of a soul eater of sorts. And they say that when you pass, that this thing is actually there waiting for people, and they think that's the reason a lot of people get activity in their homes because if you have religious artifacts in your home, that their ancestors could come into your home and hide from this thing. And
Oh wow.
that's one of the things that they preach is that when you're doing an investigation and you're trying to move the spirit on, that you need to know what that spirit is because you may be pushing it straight out of the house and into the arms of the soul eater or whatever the thing is. So it's really kind of interesting. I've kind of read into it a little bit, but I'm like you. I just kind of stay in my lane.
Yeah, that would actually explain a lot though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. There's a YouTube page. And it's called Sean Clyn Shadow Productions, and he does some ghost hunting. He's Navajo, I think, and he goes into some of that stuff, and it's really interesting to watch because just the techniques that he uses when they ghost hunt. It brings a lot of stuff into perspective for me when I'm ghost hunting because like if they go to a location, they'll offer tobacco or chocolate or something along those lines to the spirit to get it to interact with them, or they'll actually sit down and go into one of their little rituals. And if it's a native spirit there, they kind of think that that'll kind of entice it to come and speak to them more because they're using maybe the beliefs and values that it would have used. So it's really interesting.
Now there is a story out in Gettysburg. Depending on who you're talking to, whether or not they say
Mhm,
this is just made up lore or if this actually took place.
mhm,
It was a white woman who had married a native and had kids
mhm.
with I think there's three kids and one was on the way, and the town I think this might have been if I remember correctly, they said about 40 years before the battle ever took place,
Hmm.
and the town actually like slaughtered them because they didn't want their kids interacting with their kids. You know how it is back in the early 1800s. That was
Yeah.
not a thing.
Yeah.
That's actually supposed to be over by Saxbridge in town.
That's that whole northeastern United States. That's a big area that I want to get to one of these days. I got about 6 more months and I can actually retire from work, so I plan on getting up that way. I'm going to do some stuff up there and do some traveling up in that area. Now, what have you guys done? Any of the bigger places up there on the tours that you've done?
So my sister's first big location was Penhurst.
Oh, okay, okay.
Now, when we did when we went there, I had told her she already knew I'd gone to Paragon, so
Hmm.
I knew the layout of the land. So I was like, just follow me, like you'll be all right. So the way that they do their public hunt, they have five of the buildings,
Hmm.
and they split everybody up into groups. And our group, the first stop that we had was the Rockwell Tunnel. So when I do these with the public stuff, I kind of try to stay away from the group and
Hmm.
go off to do my own thing because you got a mixed bag. You got people who are like me, but then you got some goofballs that just aren't there. They're just there.
Yeah.
So we go in and we turn the one corner of the tunnel, and there's a yellow balloon halfway filled with air with like a little light that's dying inside of it. They were using the balloon method before, and that's why it was there. And she's
Excuse me.
like, what is that doing down here? I was like, they probably use it, when they were doing the investigation. She's like, what? It just instantly came out. I was like, we all float down here because why not?
Yeah.
And as we were going down the tunnel a little bit further, all of a sudden you just heard shuffling away from us. And we knew there was nobody ahead of us because there is an entry point, but they have everything closed off to
Hmm.
where you can only get in through the one entrance.
Yeah.
And that was like her introduction outside of this house. This was her introduction to the paranormal world.
Now, did they take you guys into Candyland where all the
Yep.
children were?
When you do the public hunt, it's the Rockwell Tunnel, Mayflower, Quaker, Devon Building where Candyland is, and the infirmary. But it kind of sucks when you do the infirmary because the infirmary is completely on the other side of the
Yeah.
compound.
Long walk across through there too.
I said to the people, I was like, "Yo, can we just drive our cars up there? Like, I'm fat, it's hot, ain't nobody trying to do
I understand that too.
that." But unfortunately, Eastern State doesn't do ghost hunts anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they stopped doing that. Apparently, it's been like that for 2 3 years now.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we asked one of the people in there like what happened, like, and he gave the political answer, like, you know people are demonizing the memory of the inmates and whatnot. But it's like you do a haunted house every year though,
Yeah, I mean,
like. So
I don't
it's like,
know.
what really happened?
Yeah, I'd say something had to happen in there. Either someone really messed something up, or someone got a little more than they bargained for in there.
Hmm. But there is another prison in town that nobody really knows about, and it looks exactly like Eastern State.
Oh,
It's up
really?
in North Philly. It's called Holmesburg Prison,
Hmm.
and the wheel and spoke pattern it's almost identical to Eastern. That closed down back in late 70s,
Hmm.
I believe. but they were actually doing dermatology experiments on the guys in there.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to find out who to get a hold of to see if they would allow a group to come in and investigate it. Because I think part of it's still being operated by the prison system, like their annex buildings.
Hmm.
So it's like trying to find the right person to get a hold of is extremely hard.
I'm gonna have to look that one up because I hadn't heard of it myself.
I remember passing because you could see it from 95 that runs north and south of the city. I remember seeing like an old time building. I was just like, let me go on the map and let me see what that is. And sure enough, it's a whole other prison.
Now they've got the Ohio State Reformatory up there. I think that's the one that Shawshank was filmed at. Now I really want to do that one too.
Oh
Have
yeah.
have you done anything in Ohio, or have you just been up around Philly?
Just Philly and the one shot in Louisville there. But Trans Allegheny is definitely one high on the list. Uh, Bushy Mountain is definitely high on the list.
Yeah, that Bushy Mountain. I'm going to Brushy Mountain. I'm going to try to get down there sometime this summer myself. That one's been kind of on my radar for the last 2 3 years, and I really want to get in there. Don't know too much about the place, so because I haven't really researched into it, but I've heard that there's a lot of activity there, and it's a massive place too.
There's um there's still some abandoned prisons down in New Orleans area. They I was checking out a guy Urban Explorers page the other night, and he was poking around in one where it's been shut down since Katrina.
Okay,
It was
okay.
one of those prisons where the guys were just trapped in there with nothing to do. And I'm like, that might be an interesting place to try to poke around at.
Oh, I'd say so. I would say so. I mean, could you imagine being in there and floodwaters coming in there and you're not able to escape and you
Yeah.
dying in there? The kind of just energy that that would put off in the building.
And it's New Orleans. It's already energized.
Oh, I know. I know. It New Orleans, from what I understand, it was when it was first formed, it was more for like people that society didn't want. They sent like people that belonged in jails and stuff down there, and that's kind of what founded New Orleans. So a lot of wild energy there to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Then you've got all the above ground tombs and the Lafayette cemeteries. That energy, man. They say that crazy stuff goes on inside those cemeteries.
Yeah, I just heard too, like, you got to get yourself a good tour guide
Hmm.
to keep you in the safe, some of the safer areas to do
Yeah,
that in. Don't just go poking around any
yeah.
old where because unfortunately, New Orleans is not a very safe place to
Mm-mm, no.
stay.
Now you get down there around the seventh and ninth ward, and you're likely not to come out of there.
hmm
Yeah, they a lot of gang activity in there.
Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what kind of equipment do you take with you? Do you rely on equipment at all, or do you just kind of use
Um,
your?
I'm kind of a basic person. Like I got a couple red pods. I use the little cat balls. But it's mainly camera work.
Yeah.
Like
There-
I see some of the stuff that's out there, and I'm just like, it's too much. And if you have too much around, then they're gonna start like playing off each other, and
Yep.
it's just a mess.
I've got a lot of equipment myself, but I'm kind of like you. I would rather use a camera and a voice recorder than just about
hmm
anything. Maybe a cat ball or something that I trust the REM pod a little, and the Ovilus, I have no faith in that thing at all. I mean, it's to me, it's just spitting out random words. But I know with the REM pod, you can set those off on your own if you don't have your phone in airplane mode or if someone keys up a mic. So it's kind of half and half. If you go in somewhere and there's no power or there's no radio signals, anything, yeah, maybe they work. But when you catch something in a picture or if you catch an EVP, you know that it wasn't you.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like you. I rely on the old school stuff a whole lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I use some of those apps, and it's about a 50-50 with those.
Mm-hmm.
The one video we have up on YouTube, it's me and my sister at a family grave, and the section that my grandfather is in is a lot of military guys.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it was either Fortunate Son or Painted Black flipped right over the app, and that was the first time I've ever heard music come over one of these little apps. So it's like a 50-50 on how they work.
Yeah. I've never heard music come across one of them.
Really?
No, I've got most of them too, and I've never heard music come across one of them. I think maybe one of the Ghost Tube apps, I had a little bit of music come through, but it's more of a spirit box type app.
Yeah, I got those. That's the one we were using that day.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard anything that I recognize come through that one though. Not any song that I've recognized.
Because I remember like we heard it, and like I looked at her. I was like, "Is that Fortunate Son or Painted Black? Like what? Like wait a minute."
That's
So we
wild.
did try to do a little test because there was no shade, so we're just getting beaten by the sun, and our batteries are getting beaten.
Mm-hmm.
So I left the Bluetooth speaker at the grave. We went to the car to charge up real quick, and I had played an old World War II song to see if anything would kick up, and nothing kicked up.
Yeah.
Because I know if you're out in Gettysburg and you play Dixie in some of the more areas that the Confederates were in,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get a response from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of when we were at Perryville, I wanted to play bugle music there, but I didn't, just to see if I could kick up a response there.
Oh, I'm sure you would have got a good response from that.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the tricks I kind of learned from watching Ghost Hunters, is
Mm-hmm.
trying to find something to trigger them.
Yeah. That's one of the guys that was on our team. He didn't get to make it, but he was actually going to bring a rebel flag with him to see what kind of responses he got with that flag. Because when you go to Perryville, there's a mass grave there that's Union soldiers, and then just right, maybe 100 yards away, there's another mass grave there that's Confederate soldiers. So he was going to walk through there with that flag and see what he could catch, but he ended up not getting to come. So we don't know if it would have worked or not.
Yeah, it would have pissed one of them off.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been my luck. He would have been around me and something would have attached to me and me bring it home with me or something.
Hey, look, I'm like, as long as you're not like flipping stuff and being a nuisance, hey, you know what? You can stay. You're cool.
That's kind of the way I am, man. As long as you're not messing with me, I don't care what's here. But now if it starts scratching me or kicking me or something like that, yeah, then it's got to go.
Yeah, because I always say, like, when we go to, on investigations, like, if I start getting slapped around or getting thrown around, make sure you get that on video.
Yeah. There's a place here in Kentucky called the Anderson Hotel, and it's in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and it was actually on what's the show that had Nick Groff and Katrina Weidman?
Oh,
Paranormal Lockdown. Was it Paranormal Lockdown?
Oh, okay. I was about to say Ghost Adventures.
No, Groff was on Ghost Adventures the first couple of seasons, I think. But when he went on his own, he went out with Katrina Weidman, and they were here in Kentucky at that Henderson Hotel, and their cameraman actually got bit there, and they actually have a sign on the property that says "Our ghosts bite. We're not responsible if you get hurt in our place here." So, and I haven't made it to that one because they'll take little spells where they'll let people do investigations there for a couple months. And then I guess something just happens and they don't want anyone back in there for 2 or 3 years. So that's one that I want to get into, but just haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, sadly, you gotta You got a lot of groups out here who try to mimic what you see on TV. I mean, I think we all can. I think everyone watching knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And they end up messing everything up for
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. That's a shame too. I mean, it really is. There's a little place here that we used to go. It was our go-to spot to ghost hunt, and it was just a little old two-story mansion that had been abandoned, just out in the middle of the woods, kind of off of a main road. And we used to go there every other weekend. And we would get so much activity there, and the local kids just started going in. They started ripping up the floors, painting the walls. They took an axe and chopped through all the drywall. It's just so bad now that we can't even go in there safely anymore because the floors, you don't know if they're going to fall through now or what. So yeah, it can be ruined really quick by just some idiot.
Oh yeah, it's a shame too.
Yeah.
Because I remember talking to my boss at the Farnsworth house, and she was asking me about different YouTubers, and I was
Mhm.
just like, well, just watch some of their content and see if you want that in the house, because it's a narrow house, so it's like you can't really jump around screaming like they do in some of these larger locations. Like you start jumping around and screaming, you might go through the floor
Yeah.
because parts of that house are still the original floor.
Yeah. Man, I've been in places that if you were to jump on the floor, they'd kick you out because some of them are just museums now.
Yeah.
And I've been in places where they wouldn't even let you sit on the furniture. You had to bring your own chair if you want to sit down in there. So I don't see how they get away with that. I mean, some of the stuff they do in those places, I'm surprised they're allowed to go back.
You know, that's why a lot of places now are just closing it off to this stuff because of that. It's like, hey, here's the rules, and then they start breaking the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. I managed a place for a while, me and the team I was with that's here in Kentucky. And it was kind of that way, man. There were places in there that we had to tell people, look, you can't have any more than 2 to 3 people in the attic because you may come through the floor. And same thing, people would try to pile in up there, and we would have to go in and tell them, no, you're going to have to come out.
Yeah. Mm-mm. See, that's my biggest fear. Like going in some of these places, being a
Mm-hmm.
big guy, it's like, uh,
That's
so,
that's the way with me, man. I'm about 290 pounds, and I don't want to go through a floor.
that's my biggest fear. It's like, we already feel a certain type of way when we break a
Mm-hmm.
chair. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
imagine going through a floor.
No, no. That would be bad. You go for a ghost hunt and you end up falling through and killing yourself, and you end up being a ghost there.
Right? It's like, no, I wanted to be somewhere more populated so I could scare people.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that would be my goal as it goes. It's like, you know what? Okay, today I'm going to make at least one person wet their pants.
Oh, absolutely. I would probably go through the house moving furniture where they would stub their toes on it and yeah, make it kind of rough.
Push the little Lego out in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Take the batteries out of the remote controls and yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That
Yeah.
would. Ugh.
What do you see in the future for you guys?
We're taking it as it goes. Like, there's not there's not really like a goal set. We're just like, hey, we want to go here.
Yeah,
Let's go here. Let's what we find, and we'll put it up for everyone to see and just take the ride.
yeah, yeah. So it's something you guys want to stick with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of the way with me. Like I said, it's been a while since I've actually been anywhere. And at one point, we were doing so many investigations that it almost felt like another job. So it lost its luster for a while. But after
Yeah.
I've been on this little break, man, I'm itching to get out and go somewhere soon. So I'm ready to get back at it. I know my team is. And like I said, the last time we were anywhere was late October, and it's time. It's time to get back out and do some stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, luckily, like the near future here, I got Penhurst coming up, and even though I won't be able to do like an actual investigation because it's going to be during Paracon,
Mhm.
but get into some of the buildings and try to get some pictures and see what pops up.
Well, man, you never know what you might get. I mean, I kind of wonder if paranormal activity, if it wouldn't act up more during the day than it does at night, anyhow, because those places like that, all the inmates were asleep after a certain time every night. So it was more active during the day when it was functional than it
Yeah.
would be at night. So you might actually get in there and catch something.
Last year, they finally opened up the Tennicum building,
Hmm.
and me and Jen, we went down in the basement, and we were catching like something. Like it's looking at the pictures, like it was weird. Like the shadow was weird. It's hard to explain it. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Send it to me. I'll check it out. See what I can find in there.
But I'm itching to get back in there and check that building out because, like I said, last year was the first time they opened it to the public.
Yeah.
So it's been one of those like buildings that's been closed off, getting actually repaired.
I think I actually saw an episode where Omar from Omar Gosh had went in there and they had just opened it up. Or it might have been Kalani. It was one of the two. But they had literally just opened that building back up. And I think they went in for a little while. But I didn't watch it all because I don't watch Omar a whole lot because, I mean, he's kind of questionable too. So I don't watch his channel a lot. But it was really interesting to see it because it hadn't been open to the public in years upon years.
Well, the the guy who bought the property when it first got sold
Hmm.
had a mulching business, and he pushed all the mulch up against a lot of those buildings. And apparently, mulch turns brick into like paper mache. I never knew that. And the historian that gives you a tour there, like they were explaining that most of those buildings, the structure was just so far gone they couldn't. They actually had to tear down the original hospital on the
Oh
grounds
wow!
last year because they just couldn't save it.
I know mulch. We had a mulch factory pretty close to where I work, and you could pull in next to that thing, and man, there was steam rolling off the mulch at all times because it was just for some reason hot. I mean, just smoking hot inside.
Yeah,
And so I'd say all that heat pushed up against those buildings, it couldn't have been good for it,
no.
especially on brick mortar and stuff. It would have to dry it out to where it's just like dirt.
The only part of the cafeteria wing that's left over there is a small little octagon building that was like the entryway into it. Because when you look at the old pictures, you see all these other buildings, and you look at it now, it's just like, holy wait, where all these go? But I'm glad they're still working on the buildings and trying to get them so that they'll be around for a lot
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. And you know, that's a good thing with the paranormal investigations going on there. That little bit of money does help trying to rehab the place and keep it decent shape so it can live on.
Yeah, because like places like Penhurst, and I'm sure a lot others did the same thing. To save money, they closed off the top floors,
Yeah.
completely sealed them, which completely destroyed the roofs. And
Yeah.
once your roof starts leaking, it's a wrap.
Yeah. 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 Once you get a bad roof leak and mold starts coming through, man, everything's gone. Just that little bit of moisture when it gets the wood, you got termites coming in and everything.
Oh
So
yeah.
they're toast. All right. Well, we're getting pretty close to an hour, and I've got an angry little brown haired lady sending me messages saying she's hungry. Oh, yeah. So, you got anything you want to close out with tonight before we get off here?
No, that's it. I think we pretty much hit everything.
All right. Tell everyone where they can find you if they want to find you on your social media.
Big Will's Paranormal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just hit Big Will's Paranormal. We'll pop right up for you.
All right. I look forward to having you on again in the future if you're up
Yes,
to it.
sir. Just
All
let me
right.
know.
All right. Thank you for coming on tonight.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Guys, if you're out there and you're experiencing anything in your home, we have the phone number rolling across the bottom of the screen there. You can reach out to me. And if you're here in Kentucky or close by, I can try to get to you or find a team that will help you. So, guys, one more time, if you're experiencing anything at all, you can call or text 859-428-7864. Thank you guys for spending your Saturday night with hashtag paranormal, and have a good night.